like the type of content I was creating, I think it was too good. So yeah. However, I will also, this series, be discussing just general topics I want to discuss. And to start us off, today, I'll be talking about, well, history, English history, in specific. What I know, the British guy talking about British history, isn't that a bit, a bit wank? It kind of is. But why do we want to listen to the British guy talk about British history? It was a fair comment. However, I think I can shed knowledge on it, personally, and I think it's a really interesting topic. And to start with that, I will be talking about Viking migration to England. Some may be wondering, who are a bit more well versed in English history, why aren't you doing the Romans or the Celtics? And that's mainly just because I am unknowledgeable on the subject of the Romans. So I'd rather not talk about a subject I am ill knowledgeable of. I believe that'd be unfair on the very diverse and interesting history that the Romans and the Celtics have. So, to start off with, the Vikings first arrived in England in 793 AD. When they arrived in a place called Lindisfarne, what at the time was a monastery that had a lot of gold and silver and was undefended. So yeah, they didn't have any weapons, they didn't have any defence, and that would allow the Vikings to easily raid them. After this though, they mainly became settlers of England. The Vikings would settle the north mainly the north, and would end up leading to the creation of something called the Danelaw. The Danelaw is basically where a majority of Vikings lived. But also later, around 878, you would have the Battle of Edington, where Vikings and British people would fight. With this, the British would win thanks to King Alfred the Great. Alfred the Great, the Treaty of Wedmore. The Treaty of Wedmore would basically make sure that the Vikings stayed in the Danelaw and find that. The other important thing of that is that Guthrum, the leader of the Vikings at the time, also was converted to Catholicism. This led to England being ruled underneath one religious identity, being Catholic, compared to before where there was both Norse and Catholic influence. This allowed for a more unified England due to the religion being the same within multiple places. Alfred the Great's grandson, Edgar the Peaceful, came in charge. It led to England existing, as he would win a war against the Danelaw and unite it within England. So that is how England came into existence, but it wasn't called England at the time. It was called Angleland even, and Angleland is where the English first truly started to exist. The English of the time were called the Anglo-Celt, and it's the first real showing of the Anglo-Celt is the first step of British identity. A couple generations later, we have Edgar the Unready. Edgar married Emma of Normandy. This just secured an alliance between the Duke of Normandy and England, and is more important later than now, but either way, Ethelred the Unready married Emma of Normandy. Their marriage would lead to Edward the Confessor being born. It was more important in around 1066, but that's not too important right now. Ethelred the Unready would then commit an atrocity called the St. Brice's Day Massacre, lead the English to massacre all Vikings south of the Danelaw. This would lead to Sven Forkbeard's sister being killed. Sven Forkbeard was the leader of the Vikings at the time. Once finding out his sister had been killed by the English, he would go attack the English and end up beating Edgar the Atheling, as he wasn't really good of a he wasn't that good of a king. So Sven Forkbeard would end up winning the war, obviously, as he was the better and stronger military. With Sven Forkbeard winning the war, it would lead to England being taken over by the Vikings. However, Sven Forkbeard would die pretty soon after taking over, leaving everything to his son, Canute the Mighty. King Canute the Mighty would unite England with Denmark and Norway, creating the North Sea Empire. The first empire. The British are a central figure, also marry Emma of Normandy. This would secure his legitimacy over the throne of England, as he would remind everyone that the reason he's the King of England is because he married the Queen. He would end up having a son with Emma of Normandy, being Harthacnut. Harthacnut wouldn't last too long as a ruler, and would be the last Viking ruler of England, and he would die, leading to his half-brother, Edward the Confessor, coming into power. Edward would come into power as Emma of Normandy would convince the rest of the English to accept him. I thought that'd be a fun, little side bit I could do, talk about English history, give a bit more knowledge on that. And that's not the most interesting. I definitely messed up on my words a bit, but I thought it'd be an interesting topic to discuss instead of just me cutting away from all of this. And I found Dark Oak. Oh yay. Some of you may be wondering, where are you going? I'm exploring, or hopefully going to explore, until I find an extreme mountains biome, or a big mountain I can live on. I want to live in a mountain because I want the aesthetic. But I more want to live like an ant colony, in a sense. But I also want to kind of collect most sapling types, so dark oak, spruce, jungle. What else? Cherry? What's the white one called? I don't know what the white one's called, but the white one, spruce, cherry, white one, acacia. Probably should have got some acacia while I was at that village. Hindsight and all of that. Because I am so lonely, I never wanna stop. Don't call me because I am so lonely. I don't wanna be saved yet, cause I just wanna say I don't wanna be left alone and hurting. I don't wanna be hurting all about myself. 1, 2, 3. I don't actually know words to this song. I think anyone who's heard me knows I am making it up. I have absolutely no idea how to sing this song, so it probably sounds bad, but that's because I don't know what it's meant to be. Does anyone actually know what song I was singing? Anyone who's watching, if anyone's watching, do you know actually what song that's supposed to be? And the actual lyrics to it, so I can try and learn how to sing it. Still no, blacksmith villages? I do like where it is though. It's in between some big wood types. It might, because I can go into that mountain. Oh, I'm liking. Yeah, I like it here. I would maybe like the jungle area a bit more. Or I don't know. However, first I'm gonna go get some iron. I think. Yeah. Put down a bed here. Be doing with it. At least I personally think that. I think down here might be better. Like I said, it's a bit less transitional per se, not as much different greenery. It's a nice place, you know what I mean? It's got nice scenery, got a nice environment. Yeah. Oh, will anyone comment who's watching? If anyone's watching. I won't put anything in this as I am gonna end this for today even. So yep. This has been episode 1 of the Let's Play, New Beginnings. Hope you enjoyed.